Finally, after all this time, man, it's almost been a month since I got gold pickpocket. I finally got Hall of Fame pickpocket. I mean, yo, getting Hall of Fame badges in 2K18 is ridiculously long, man. Especially for a lockdown defender, because my career, like I said, man, stealing in my career, poking the ball out, they call fouls. Listen, it barely even happens. But I finally got Hall of Fame pickpocket. I think it took longer than difficult shots and ankle breaker, but I finally got it, man. That's the main thing. Now, Hall of Fame pickpocket, people want to know, is it worth it, man? Is having a pure lockdown defender worth it than all these other dual archetype defender builds? And is the gold pickpocket versus the Hall of Fame pickpocket that big of a difference? And I will start out by saying it's not that big of a difference, man. Some people might notice it, and some people probably won't notice it, man. And most people probably won't notice the difference. But listen, it's a slight upgrade over the gold badge. I mean, it makes sense because gold and Hall of Fame, they're right next to each other. It's a slight upgrade, and back in 2K17, it was even a slight upgrade back then. But Hall of Fame pickpocket, man, along with a 98 steal, I'll tell you what it does do. It lowers the amount of fouls you get. Basically, you're able to reach in. They don't really call a lot of fouls on you, and you'll get a lot more poke balls. You'll get some strips in the paint. When people drive and do layups and dunks, you'll get some clean strips. Now, the thing about the steal system in 2K18, it doesn't really reward you with steals some of the times. 2K18 steal system is mainly about poking the ball out. That's what pickpocket does. That's what a steal rating actually does. In 2K17, you were cleanly stripping players and just stealing the ball. Sometimes they will poke it up, sometimes they will force a dribble, but most of the time, honestly, you were just stealing the ball. When people were driving into the paint, that's an automatic strip. Athletic finishers, stretch bigs, slashers, people that weren't playmakers, you come into the paint trying to drive on a lockdown defender, that was an automatic strip. Every single build was automatically stripped in the paint against the lockdown defender. In 2K18, it's not really an automatic strip. You're basically just poking the ball out. Sometimes you will get that strip animation back from 2K17, but most of the time you're just poking the ball out, which is the new system in 2K18. I don't know if everyone likes that system. I don't have a problem with it, but you definitely do get more poke balls out. You're definitely able to actually, spam the square button, people like to say, more than you could with gold pickpocket, and there's definitely a slight upgrade. So I appreciate what Hall of Fame pickpocket does. And now the biggest question is, well, can you get away with gold pickpocket on, dual archetypes, two-way shot creators, two-way slashers, slashing defenders, shot creating defenders? And my personal opinion is that if you are making a lockdown build and you want to have, defense as your primary or secondary, I'd say just make a pure lockdown defender, man, because judging based off the Hall of Fame pickpocket and with my 98 steal and just going on NBA 2K Labs and comparing the builds again, because in the beginning of the year I was comparing the builds of the lockdown defenders, and honestly, the pure lockdown defender is the best lockdown defender build, man. If you use a slashing defender, listen, a gold pickpocket is still good, but you don't have the 98 steal. I mean, yes, your steal is still pretty high. It's near the low 90s, but it's not the 98 steal with the Hall of Fame badge. And then you're losing a huge amount of lateral quickness. You still got the speed, but you're losing lateral quickness. You lose some shot contests, you lose some blocks. And honestly, the upgrades you get in the other categories like dunking and layups, it's not enough to offset the defensive downgrades you get, man. I mean, you're losing a huge amount of great defense for a minimal upgrade in slashing. It's not the same thing like a playmaking shot creator, because with a playmaking shot creator, you got a 90 ball control. Your speed with ball goes all the way to a 91. That's insane. And I mean, yeah, you still gotta, but that's a playmaking shot creator. My primary was shot creator. You're defending, you're freaking, and think about it. Playmaking was my secondary, and I'm still able to get a 90 ball control. If you make a two-way slasher, right? Your slashing is gonna be up there. Of course, it's gonna be in the 90s, but your defense will not be in the 90s. It will be in somewhere between the low 80s, high 70s. I looked at a shot creating, a two-way shot creator on NBA2KLabs.com, and your steal rating goes up like what, 5 or 6 points compared to a playmaking shot creator steal? Is it really worth losing those defensive upgrades or losing the freaking ability, the max ability of a slasher? You might as well just make a freaking fully slasher, a pure slasher, or if you really want to get that defense, make the pure lockdown defender, man, because I'm telling you right now, man, after using this build for a long time, and you know I've been using this build in Arena Pro-Am, Walk-On Pro-Am, you know, Ruffles 4-Point Challenge, Mountain Dew, I've used this build everywhere. The dunking is fine, the layups is fine, there's no need for you to make a slashing defender, man. A lockdown defender, they have silver posterizer. You have silver posterizer. You'll be fine dunking, bro. Especially if you got max wingspan, that's an added bonus. So you'll definitely be fine, man. Don't worry about slashing defender. Don't make a slashing defender. There's no point. And then we got the shot creating defender, man. And I understand that people want to have a shot as a lockdown defender because they took that out. But you know, you can still hit some mid-range. You saw me getting some excellent releases in Walk-On Pro-Am. I think if you have your hotspots, and I don't even have my hotspots. And I'm getting green lights with my lockdown defender. So I think that, listen, if you can shoot, if you got a shot, you get your hotspots, you'll be fine shooting. So I also don't see the need for a shot creating defender, man. I think the only build that makes sense for a lockdown defender this year in 2K18 is just to make a pure lockdown defender, man. That's my honest opinion. But this is for point guard to small forward. I don't know about rim protectors. I don't know about slashing rim protectors. I don't know about all that stuff. I haven't made a rim protector. But for the lockdown defenders, which is point guard to small forward, I think the best defending build is the pure lockdown defender, man. You can't, I think everything else is just way too lopsided, or it's just too ineffective to be inefficient build, man. I mean, yes, you can still use it and still be efficient, but I just think there's too many drawbacks, man. And when you look at 2KLabs.com and you look at compare the ratings, you can even go into 2K18 and just look at the ratings for yourself. You're not really gaining that big of an advantage, man. The best lockdown build is the pure lockdown build. I mean, this build is definitely my best build, man. It's not even the highest build I have, but it's the best build. Hall of Fame pickpocket is great. Is it the best Hall of Fame badge in the game? Probably not. It might probably be defensive stopper, and honestly, comparing this to, you know, difficult shots, I'd still take difficult shots over Hall of Fame pickpocket, because before with gold pickpocket, I was still stealing. But you gotta still realize I have a 98 steal anyways. So that's the thing you gotta worry about, man. I have a 98 steal. You might be comparing, you might be saying, well, the slashing defender has a 90 steal, man. What about my gold pickpocket? But yeah, it's a 90 steal, man. And now all of the defending builds as your primary, with the other archetypes being dual archetypes, have that 90 steal that the slashing defender has anyways. So you just gotta look at 2KLabs.com, compare the attributes, and just watch gameplay, man. Look gameplay. You don't even see that many slashing defenders out there anyways, man. But anyways, man, leave a like for more. So close to getting my lockdown defender to 91. I'm out for now. Peace.